Well, howdy there, dreamers, and welcome back to Dreamline Garage. So today, hi Garth, hi buddy. Today we are going to be installing the lower control arms from V into Eddie. So, as you had seen the other video, this should be just a bolt-in maneuver. But really quick, interesting tidbit about old Dodges. These are not your run-of-the-mill lug nuts and lug studs. Up until, I want to say, the early 70s, Chrysler products came with counter-rotating driver's side threads. And at the time, this was believed to mitigate any kind of rotational loosening that may occur. Now, this was proven to be something that didn't actually ever happen, and so they stopped doing it. Oh yeah, that's a counter-rotating. But that's just a fancy little tidbit. So we are going to be getting Eddie all torn apart first. And also, from the looks of things, getting some things cleaned. Especially, like here, we got some buildup of stuff. The passenger side here actually isn't too bad. But if we come over to the driver's side, and I've cleaned a little bit of it off. You can see it all there. It's just absolutely caked and built up. So I'm gonna get some scraping and cleaning done, and then I'll come back to you guys. Alrighty, the driver's side control arm is out. You can see the cup there and the adjuster and the drum brakes. So I wound up cutting the soft line, because Eddie's getting whole new brakes anyway, and soft lines are fairly easy to replace, period. Also, I don't have an 8mm to be able to take it off from there or from here. So, soft line got cut. Y'all can fight me in the comments about it. It's already done. The bushings all are shot. In fact, this here is what's left of the one for the end of this. I'm willing to venture a guess as to say that these are the original factory bushings. They are hard as a rock and brittle, and I don't even think I can. That one's like fused to the end of that rod. So, also these shocks are done. So it'll be nice to have this put in. And this is the little adjuster block, because this side was actually missing the one it needed. So that'll be going in there. And I've already put it up inside, but this is the slant 6 torsion spring. Gonna slide it over there, keep it out of the way. And then we've got, sorry for making everybody seasick. We've got the V8 torsion spring here, and this is a dust cap that was on here, and it was still in decent shape, so I'm going to keep it. And then this is pushed out and back and out of the way, and then once we get the control arm in, which is going to sit about here, we can then slide that up into the cup. And then once we actually get Eddie on his weight, we can adjust things. And also, from the looks of things, we might need to bring most of V's steering components over here, because Eddie's have seen better days. And here again, which actually, now I see these have been replaced at least once, because that's newer looking grease, but it's completely blown out. It's still tight, but oh boy, that's bad. Anyway, I'm gonna get this side in and finish this side up, and then work on the other side. Okay, everybody, so we're still here on the driver's side. Actually, we're completely done. In fact, I'm even all washed up. the phone died, and so I just decided to get it all done, and then we'd worry about the phone. Because, light's starting to get a little low in the sky. So, anyway, we're all hooked up. So, I did just hook up to the old ball joint and to the old steering arm. Like I said, we're going to be bringing probably everything but the steering box from V over to Eddie here, because it's all basically new. Got the shocks in and tight. Got this in. Can we see the bushing in there? New bushings that aren't completely shot. The torsion spring is in its cup, nice and neat. Come over to the other side, and we're more of the same. It's all hooked up and good. So now we're not done with the front here. I've still got to do cotter pins and everything. But the biggest things are swapping out these upper control arms with there's a company that makes some nice tube ones that allow me to use the later model A-body ball joints, which are a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier. And we got these adjusters in. So I've got them, if we can come over here and I can kind of see the screen. So this bolt here attaches to this block, that block there, and that bolt has a rounded head and pushes on this. All right, and so this is actually your spring tension adjustment, because this here, and I know I've explained it before, but if anybody's just joining us, this here is a torsion spring. So I'm not too sure about Ford or Chevy, but Chrysler loved torsion springs in the 60s and 70s. Even your Chargers and Challengers had torsion springs. And basically these don't work off of a compressive force. These work off of a torsional or a rotational force. So the more that we get pushed up here, the more that this bar will twist inward. And that's where you get your spring resistance and the actual weight support for the rest of the car. And because of this dealie here with the bolt and everything, you can see the threads of the bolt there. With this, we are able to either loosen or tighten the spring tension. And so you can readily tune your front springs in and be able to, have a softer ride or a stiffer ride, or have one side stiffer than the other to compensate for the torque of the engine, that sort of thing. Or if you just want to have a really high nose, then you jack this up all the way to its uppermost limit, and because the spring has way more tension on it, then it supports more weight. So that's how those work, and I think it's going to work really well. So these are the V8 torsion springs out of V, and I had thought about keeping the the slant 6 ones in here because they are a bit lighter. But with as heavy as this 440 is, I don't think it's going to matter. I'll still be able to loosen these up and get a decent launch off. So we're done for the evening. This is all in. And because I don't have hubs, which from the looks of things, I'm going to need full brake lines. Not because I cut this, but because I'm pretty sure I got a leak somewhere along the line. So master cylinder, brake lines, hubs. I have calipers, rotors, and then I got to rebuild the rear brakes and actually run the emergency cable line. Then we are going to finish doing the rear suspension, and because I'm going to be basically having to completely disassemble the rear end, that's when I'll put the third member that I'm buying in for the Ford 9-inch. I'm pretty sure I have 28 spline axles, so I might have to disassemble the carrier and put the 28 spline mini spool in it, and then reset everything up. So that's going to be a learning curve for me. After that, we'll get it all put back together with new leaf springs, new shocks, and then the suspension and hopefully brakes will be done. And then once the suspension and brakes are done, we'll be able to get the cooling done, because as you can see, that's the trans cooler that's just kind of sitting there in midair. I think there's one zip tie still holding it. And this radiator, which is the original radiator at a V, because she's a V8, this will be getting replaced with a mostly bolt-in triple core fully aluminum unit, and that will be much a benefit, as well as replacing the water pump, removing this fan, installing the nice big meaty electric fan there, and the radiator will also have a built-in trans cooler, so I won't have to have that hanging off of there. So Eddie's coming along. We're gonna be moving along, and I'm really hoping that I have, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous about the brake work. I've never run brake lines before. I'm fairly certain that I can do it. It's something that I've never done before. So I'm a little nervous about it, if I'm honest. So we will see how that goes, and you guys will probably learn right along with me. So if you like what you see, like and subscribe, and share it around to all of your friends, and comment below what suggestions that you guys have and whatnot. And you guys keep dreaming, and we'll